Now, let's join ace broadcaster Mamode Akuga as he takes us inside the Niger Delta.
Hello out there and welcome to the program. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. I'm your regular host, Mamode Akuga. We begin today's edition with a look at the frightening state of insecurity in the country. Our first port of call is Rivers State, where scores of lives have been consumed in a Cold War ravaging the oil-rich state. And from there, we move to the mining fields of Zamfara and other parts of the north recently ravaged by bloody clashes among illegal miners of the country's vast solid mineral deposits. While the federal government has since banned mining activities to stem the tide of insecurity in Zamfara state, its next line of action in managing the solid mineral sector to the benefit of all Nigerians is the focus of our second issue on the program. Moving on, we bring you excerpts of an interview with the Bayelsa State Governor, Henry Seriaka Dickson, who intends to galvanize the entire Niger Delta State to join the state to demand environmental justice from oil majors operating in Nigeria's oil-rich region. And finally on the program, it's a display of the Abame Wrestling Festival, a rite of passage into manhood celebrated once in every 5 years by the people of Igbide Kingdom in the Isoko South local government area of Delta State. Inside the Niger Delta, we'll be back after this timeout. Don't go away.
Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, determined to make a difference.
Welcome back. It's Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region. The Ogoni Youth Federation, OYF, has frowned at the recent orgy of killings linked to cult-related activities in Ogoni land and other parts of Rivers State. Leaders of the OYF, in an exclusive interview with Inside the Niger Delta, called on Governor Wike to come to their rescue.
Shortly after the elections in Rivers State emerged a new wave of killings perpetrated by rival cult gangs operating in the state. In Ogoni land, where cult-related killings have been on the increase, a body known as the Ogoni Youth Federation condemns the dastardly act.
It's a court war, court crash between the two rival group of courts. And these people have taken dominance of my community to the extent that nobody, even the police, cannot even stop them. The kind of rifle that these people have, I think the police cannot even battle with them. So we are calling on the state government to make a statement to all. We have the army, the soldiers are there, but the soldier cannot even stay in my community based on the weapon these boys have. And we don't know who are sponsoring them. So that is why we are coming to call on this governor of Rivers State to make a statement, because even as all these, people have been crying. There is no single persons in my place.
And we have made a lot of efforts to see how we could stem the tide of killing in Ogoni land. But our effort seems to be abortive because the government of the day is not helping matters. Even the Ogoni leaders, from the traditional rulers and to other elitist groups, they are not also helping matters. Everybody seems to be complacent, and our people are dying in their numbers. Now you also recall that we have an environmental team ravaging our land. This is only here again to increase our woes.
In reacting to the killing spree in Rivers State, President Muhammadu Buhari recently ordered security action against cult gangs, citing several reasons as responsible for the mayhem in the nation's treasure base. The Ogoni youths maintain that the use of brute force may not stem the ugly tide of violence in the affected communities. In Ogoni land, where the government has concluded plans to re-enter the oil fields without consulting the people, the youths are of the opinion that the resurgent violence calls for dialogue.
We know the antics of the Nigerian states. What they do is that when they want to dominate or take over a territory, they first of all instigate crisis. Because like I said, we don't know why these people are killing themselves, our people. Okay. And we are also suspecting that the presidency may not be very sincere, because they are leaving the issue that is very pressing to talk about. Of course, we are happy that he said he gave a marching order to the security agencies to stem the tide of killing, but there are issues to be talked about because this whole thing stems from somewhere. When you bring out a memo without consulting the people, and the people went restive. Why don't you? There are some things we can sit down and dialogue.
The Ogoni youths also call on the government of Nyesom Wike to come to their rescue.
Oil politics is involved. Courts, gang, and war is also involved. And that is why we are saying that the governor of the state, as the chief executive officer, must step in at this time and make categorical statements. We know these boys that are doing this thing. We are Ogoni people. We know them because we don't need to pretend about it. Now we have to. How do we get them out and solve this problem? The governor of this state must partner with Ogoni youths so we can stop this. Nobody wants our people. We don't want our people to die. We've lost a lot of Ogonis from historical facts. I don't want it anymore. This has to stop. And the youths are pained.
Residing in Babe, where we call Babe district, over about 5 communities have sacked out by these boys, this group, this gang, and nobody has made any statement over it. Our leaders are afraid. Everybody are afraid. They are saying that if you make any statement, these boys will go after you. How can we remain? How can we fold our hands and see when these boys are terrorizing all our areas? So that is why, if there's opportunity for His Excellency to make a statement, he should make a statement, because the federal government has offered an opportunity now to fish out these boys. So we need the effort of the state governor to join hands with the federal government and clear this nonsense from our place.
In the last 2 weeks, several communities in Kana, Gokana, Emoha, Ikwere, and Obiakbo local government areas have been sacked by cult gangs and scores killed by yet-to-be-identified gunmen, prompting residents to flee their homes. It is feared that the prevailing state of insecurity may further heighten if no proactive steps are taken to nip it in the bud.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Overcome that blackout. Enjoy 24 hours affordable electricity without noise pollution or daily purchase of petrol or diesel. Invest in alternative power from Exalted Eagles Nigeria Limited. We stock high-grade, long-lasting solar panels, modern hybrid inverters, and rugged long-life batteries. We also have for sale solar-powered water heaters and water pumping machines. We also stock for sale large quantities of solar-powered street lights, security lights, and lanterns, as well as powerful voltage regulators and auto gate openers. We guarantee our products with reliable after-sales service at our maintenance centers. We have offices all over the Niger Delta, including Lagos and Abuja. For contacts, call Kinsley on 0806 388 7516 or Nick on 090 87 000 335. Exalted Eagles Nigeria Limited, your source for alternative power.
In responding to a similar orgy of killings linked to the activities of illegal miners and armed bandits in Zamfara State, the federal government recently put a halt on activities in the state and banished foreign firms engaged in the illegal mining of the country's vast solid mineral deposits. The following report takes a look at how the federal government can manage the country's solid mineral deposits that are largely found in the north to the benefit of the entire country, just as it is doing with oil and gas resources generated from the Niger Delta. In the last couple of months, Zamfara State has witnessed an unprecedented upsurge in killings and kidnappings. This worrisome situation led a group of Zamfara indigents residing in Abuja to stage a protest at the presidential villa. In response, the federal government shut down all mining activities in Zamfara State as part of attempts to combat armed banditry. According to the federal government, it has established a nexus between mining activities and the armed banditry going on in Zamfara State. Any mining operator who continues to engage in mining activities will have his license revoked. The ban will, however, not last long. Minister of State for Mines and Steel Development, Abubakar Buhari, says investor considerations will force a reopening of the mines shortly after security operatives will have flushed out the bandits with his current offensive codenamed Operation Puff Adder. What has become clear following the Zamfara crisis is that the federal government has licensed some operators to mine the solid minerals in Zamfara State and other states in Nigeria. It is also clear that illegal mining is thriving in these mining locations, with the proceeds going into the private pockets of individuals running different cartels. The struggle for territorial control over the mining fields often results in the deaths of scores of people. Though one of the poorest states in Nigeria, Zamfara is rich in gold that has become blood-stained. While these bandits continue to mine the gold, the people of Zamfara, who now live in fear, continue to languish in poverty, just as the Nigerian state continues to lose billions to the theft of gold. The bleeding mines of Zamfara state is but a reflection of the non-stop theft of the collective resources of the Nigerian state. In April 2001, international journalist Aditya Manshreter published The Bleeding Mountains of Nepal, one of the most compelling works of the country's underdevelopment. The book exposes how the citizens of Nepal, both the ordinary and the highly placed in society, mismanaged its fortunes in the last 50 years. In The Bleeding Mountains of Nepal, Mr. Shreter gives an account of how the country is being fleeced, milked, and wrenched by insiders, outsiders, and even donor agencies, leading to widespread poverty in the South Asian country. Much like Nepal, the Nigerian economy has been stifled and retarded by sheer greed and mismanagement over the decades. In October 2012, the British Broadcasting Corporation BBC reported that despite Nigeria's vast oil wealth, 90% of its citizens lived on less than $2 per day, a scenario that it attributed to official mismanagement and corruption. According to the report, a staggering $29 billion was lost to an apparent price-fixing scam involving the sale of natural gas between 2002 and 2012. The magnitude of corruption in the NNPC and indeed the petroleum sector is indeed unimaginable. Earlier in May 2012, Nigerians were outraged upon discovering a huge scandal surrounding a scheme the government introduced as fuel subsidy. This fuel subsidy scheme, from which Nigeria lost billions of dollars, was an avenue for the patronage and appeasement of some fat cats in the system. The Nigerian government had deliberately allowed the country's refineries to rot away and commissioned fraudulent companies to import refined petroleum products from faraway and nearby countries in a racket that flourished and created billionaires overnight. Little wonder the number of fuel importers in the country increased from 6 to 140 by 2011. The official sleaze in Nigeria's oil sector had led to the ascendancy of some misguided youths in the Niger Delta, who in collaboration with some unscrupulous state officials have been engaged in crude oil theft on a massive scale. By 2011, it was reported that crude oil theft might have reached emergency levels, with 250,000 barrels of the black gold stolen every day, amounting to about 10% of annual production at a cost of $6 billion per annum. The general impression is that the greatest threat to the Nigerian economy lies in the mismanagement of the petroleum industry, but this is far from the truth. There's enough evidence, however, to suggest that large-scale theft in the solid mineral sector has equally brought the economy to its knees over the years. It is a known fact that the solid mineral sector, an otherwise vibrant sector of the economy, has been left lying fallow due to the lack of insight on the part of successive managers of the economy. At the last count, it was reported that the country is endowed with about 34 solid minerals identified in 450 locations across the country, and they include large deposits of zinc, bitumen, gold, coal, iron ore, lead, and many others. While the solid minerals largely relegated are found in different parts of the country, they have been constantly mined in some northern states of the country by individuals operating without land rights, mining licenses, and other relevant documents. This brings to fore allegations that the country is bleeding from an untold sabotage in the solid mineral sector of the economy. Only recently, Global Rights Nigeria, an international human rights organization, alleged that the country loses over 152 billion naira worth of gold annually to illegal gold exports. This allegation is supported by a recent World Bank-assisted study conducted by the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NATI), which reveals that government's laxity in the sector has given rise to illegal miners currently in control of over 80% of the mining fields of Nigeria's precious metals. NAITI's position was corroborated by the Federal Ministry of Mines and Steel Development, which recently reported that the federal government lost a whopping $9 billion to the activities of illegal miners in the solid minerals sector of the country. Recently, the EFCC arrested one Abba Ali Yahaya with illegally mined gold from Zamfara State worth 1.2 billion naira, which he was trying to illegally export to Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Also at the Lagos airport, the EFCC impounded gold worth 211 million naira, which was also being illegally exported to Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo could not have been far from the truth when in the month of November 2017, he stated that Nigeria was not poor because it had no resources, but that its poverty was a result of mindless stealing and mismanagement of the country's vast resources. Is it that the federal government is incapable of mining the country's solid minerals for national income? Is the federal government deliberately turning a blind eye to the illegal mining of solid minerals in the country to the benefit of certain individuals? Which companies have been licensed to explore for solid minerals, and what is Nigeria's equity share in such joint ventures? What is the total income generated from the sale of solid minerals, and was it paid into the Federation account through the Treasury Single Account (TSA)? Why the concentration on crude oil from the Niger Delta as the sole source of income? Will the Niger Delta States ever benefit from the sharing of proceeds from the sale of solid minerals, just as other states currently benefit from the sale of crude oil? From all indications, it is clear that the case study of Nepal, employed to draw significant parallels with the Nigerian experience, only amounts to scratching the surface with regard to the mismanagement of the nation's natural resources. We therefore call on the National Economic Council to carry out a full investigation of Nigeria's natural mineral resources, a process that should be backed with an adequate monitoring mechanism. It is instructive to note that such a process must necessarily carry along the host communities that have been long relegated to the background, with the objective of making them part owners of the natural resources residing in their domains. As Professor Osinbajo rightly points out, Nigeria can easily come out of its current economic doldrums only if the proceeds of its abundant mineral resources are properly accounted for and exploited for the common good of the generality of its citizens.
Inside the Niger Delta.
Inside the Niger Delta, NCTA associates Port Harcourt River State, in collaboration with Shekinah Institute, Santin, Johannesburg, South Africa, presents the 10th edition of its annual International Strategic Management and Leadership Retreat, themed Strategies for Building Personal and Organizational Capabilities for Superior All-Time Performance. Date Friday 7th to Wednesday 12th, June 2019. Venue Silver Oak Luxury Apartments, 120, 6th Road, Hyde Park, Saunton. Workshop fee 950,000 naira to cover workshop participation, resource materials, certificate of participation, accommodation for 5 nights, breakfast inclusive, guided bus tour of Johannesburg and Soweto, visit the Sun City Resort, and visa processing. For inquiries about participation, call Chris on 080-332-80242 or call Princess on 080-205-40134. Explore the world. Call now as registration closes on Tuesday, 30th April 2019.
In the past few weeks, Bayelsa State has been in the news for its avowed commitment to enthrone environmental justice for the largely ecologically devastated communities with its #Rise for Bayelsa campaign. Governor Siraka Dickson, in an exclusive interview with Inside the Niger Delta recently in Yenagoa, described the Rise for Bayelsa campaign as a genuine struggle to be embraced by all Niger Deltans faced with a similar challenge of environmental despoilation.
We are prepared to collaborate with all. And Rise Up for Bayelsa, as I said, means rising up for environmental injustice wherever it exists. We have done so in Bayelsa. Rise Up for Bayelsa means you should rise up for the Niger Delta, you should rise up for Delta State, you should rise up for River State, you should rise up for Akwa Ibom State, you should rise up for any state that is suffering environmental degradation. and has suffered so for decades without any attention being paid to it.
Governor Dickson said his government was not oblivious of the capacity of the international oil companies to fight back, but noted that it would be exonerated by its quest for justice and humanity.
They are very powerful. They determine what you hear. They have so much money. They control so many aspects of our lives. And they control an intricate web, of power and influence, both within the country and outside. And they can bring that to bear against anybody, including me, who is spearheading it, or any leader. And you've seen it happen before. And we know how our leaders have raised these issues, and they've all been brought down and so on. But I believe that our cause, the justice of our cause, is enough to act as our shield. And we have God on our side. And we need enough people of goodwill to get the message that they need to rise up.
As part of efforts to address widespread environmental degradation in Bayelsa State, Governor Dickson recently set up a 10-man international panel led by Dr. John Sentamo, the Archbishop of York, to investigate the cases of environmental pollution and come up with recommendations.
Everything are dying. The whole fish has gone.
From that very good health, we are now seeking.
Oil is not supposed to be on the surface. Oil is supposed to be inside the pipe.
For them it is business, but for us it is our livelihood, our lives, our children, and our future.
It was culture at its very best display during the 2019 edition of the Abame Wrestling Festival, celebrated once in 5 years by the people of Igbide Kingdom in Isoko South local government area of Delta State. This report, our correspondent takes a look at the significance of the Abame Cultural Festival, which is a rite of passage into manhood in the ancient Igbide Kingdom.
No fewer than 150 able-bodied men participated in this year's edition of the colorful Abame Cultural Festival in Igbide Kingdom, Isoko South local government area of Delta State. The Abame Festival, a legacy of the founding fathers of Igbide, originally centered on a fierce wrestling contest, which was in 1995 modified as a demonstrative display of valor. It is today celebrated as part of passage rites from boyhood to manhood.
It's a kind of initiation into adulthood. And you are not called a man unless you partake in the Abame. You will have no voice, you won't speak or talk when men are talking. And wherever there is a ceremony, you who have not participated will serve drinks to others.
And when the wrestling started, it became something else. It became diabolical. Because if it is your turn and you are the one chosen by your quarter to represent them there, you must, better you don't fall. If you fall, you are finished. So in the end, we said no. By this way, all strong men are dying and going away. We better modify it. So the modification brought what we are doing now. We are still in two, in fact, we are now 3 sections. So it's demonstrated now is by physical demonstration. What he would have done if they actually wrestled, how he would have gone around you, how he would have cornered you. That was a demonstration, is what he would do today. The man who does it well to the satisfaction of the community is the man who defeated the people.
I feel very grateful as they trained me to be a manhood in the community. This is one of the cultural dates back in memory when people wrestle, but now it has turned to normal participation, just a kind of traditions as we practice here.
The Abame Festival, celebrated once in every 5 years, is a cultural practice that encourages young men to embrace the values of hard work and perseverance. it is also in place to instill discipline in men.
I'm appealing to the young men to be very cautious, because once you are a thief, you will not perform. You will not be a member of the group that will do the performance. You will just be like that because you are nobody in the community. So everybody should try to make a way that he will have a good name, not to be deprived from performing this Abame title.
In Igbide Kingdom, the passage rites that accompany the Abame festival is a ritual that every young man must perform, and it is said to be devoid of fetish practices.
Contest this, you are regarded as somebody who has fulfilled all righteousness. You are free to hold any position. You are free from manual works. You are free from insults. Now, if we come in here, those who came in, those who participated, will sit before you, even if you are older than them by age. It has no fetish connotation. You are just graduating from boys into men.
Me, myself, I'm a Christian. But I said, let me go and see what these people are doing. If it is real, that is the devil, I will know from now on. But as I go, I did not see any sign of, say, juju or anything on it.
Over the years, the Abame festival has served as a symbol of unity, as it is embraced by all Igbide people, regardless of their social status.
Inside the Niger Delta.
And with that report, we draw the curtain on the program. Inside the Niger Delta, the authentic voice of Nigeria's oil-rich region, will be back same time next week on this station. On behalf of the production crew, I'm yours sincerely, Mahmoud Akuga, appreciating you for staying tuned. And bye for now.